Am I the a-hole for telling my birth siblings to leave me alone and that I don't care about their parents? I-20s was adopted as an infant. Actually, I was found in an alley, and when my birth family didn't come forward to claim me and nobody knew who I was adopted. But I was an infant at the time, thankfully, so no long foster care experience. I was placed without anything to keep me warm, in a low visibility area, and there were no signs I was lovingly placed. It basically looked like I was thrown away like trash. I've seen some old newspaper clippings about it. The story was told to me gradually throughout my childhood. My parents were always open about my adoption, though. I never felt bothered. My family, parents, siblings, and extended family were my family, even if I was the only non-bio kid in the family. I was loved, I was treasured even, and I had a great life. But the circumstances surrounding my adoption meant some stuff was unclear. Medical history being the biggest thing. I never really cared. But I got engaged a few months ago, and my fiancé and I want children, and seeing the health stuff in my family has made me realize I have no idea if I could pass anything on to my future kids. After thinking it over, I did 23andMe genetic testing, but I did it wrong, and I also mistakenly added myself to be found. I realized quickly after my results came in, but by then it was too late and 2 birth siblings found me. They're older. My birth parents had 5 kids before me. They all know about me and want to know me. The birth siblings started off somewhat reasonably, but when I made it clear I didn't want to hear my birth parents' story, they flipped a switch. They said how much their parents regretted giving me away and how they would have come forward, but they didn't want to get into trouble for abandoning me like they did. They believed I owed their parents and them the chance to get it all out there and to build a relationship. I stood my ground and I blocked them, but they followed me to social media. And they insisted we're family and I should be kinder to them and their parents. I was told it's not like I'm just a half-sibling and I'm the baby who was missing. They sent messages that were trying to make me feel bad for their parents, specifically their mom. And it pissed me off. After almost 3 months of dealing with them finding ways around blocking them, I told them to f off and leave me alone and how I don't care about their stupid parents. I had to delete my account because it was just random account after random account and I couldn't block them fast enough in their outrage over what I said. They told me their parents didn't deserve that. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to have a relationship with my birth family?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
Send them all the newspaper clippings of a baby left to die in an alley. Did you at least get medical info out of them?
OP replied,
I didn't get it from them, but the genetic testing I did gave me a decent picture of everything. I'm glad I didn't ask the birth siblings for direct medical history because that would likely be used to try and bargain for what they want.
How does that conversation even go? Sorry, Mom and Dad tried to kill you, but it would be really nice if you could help them feel less guilty about that.
OP replied,
It was more like we know our parents abandoned you, but there were good reasons. You'd feel bad for them if you knew those reasons. Please hear them out.
Am I the a-hole for leaving before my friend arrived on our night out? I 26F am very punctual and value being on time. I don't understand why we agree on a time if one always fails to come at that specified time. I have a friend who I will call Lara 25F, and she unfortunately has a problem with punctuality. She has a tendency to be at least 20 minutes late, but there have been times where she has even been 40 to 50 minutes late. This is not due to traffic, but because she starts getting ready late and leaves the house 5 minutes before our agreed time, if not later. I have told her multiple times that I do not appreciate it. For example, I have sat alone in a restaurant for half an hour to make sure we did not lose the reservation. And this is just one of the situations which leave me frustrated. Other than that, she is a good friend and we have lots of fun hangouts together. Well, yesterday evening it was very cold and windy outside, 1 degree Celsius, and we had planned to meet in the city center and go for food and drinks afterwards. I had texted her to remind her to leave her house on time. It takes me around 40 minutes to get there, so I cannot spontaneously just exit the house and be there. I have to plan my time. When I arrived, I was right on time, as opposed to 10 minutes earlier, because I know it's useless with her anyway, and I started waiting. After around 30 minutes, I lost my patience, texted her to forget it and just left. I was cold and in a bad mood, especially because she told me that she would be there right away. She apparently was there 15 minutes later and called me upset that I don't understand how she is and I am being a bad friend. That I should not make plans if I am not okay with waiting, which I did not agree with. Still, I have never left like this before and I feel guilty for leaving her like this. Little update. She called me a few hours ago and we talked for a bit. She apologized for insulting me, ignoring my messages and for being late this time. She sounded like she really regretted it, but I was a bit bitter about the fact that I had to take it this far for her to wake up. I did not talk about meeting up again, as I just want to let it sink in a bit more and not just 2 days. And I think afterwards I will use one of the suggestions that said to meet in a cafe and give her a range, such as I will be here from 15 to 15:30, and see how that works out. I truly don't want to lose her and I was sorry to hear her like this, but she hurt me first and she needs to understand that too. So am I the a-hole here for leaving?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. She's a serial turd and time burglar. The world doesn't revolve around her and she should respect your time. Basically takes no effort for her to tell you a later time if that's what she needs.
Not the a-hole. She hopefully learned a lesson and you can maybe reconsider whether this is something you want to put up with each time.
Not the a-hole. You waited 30 minutes, which was generous. She does not value your time. I'm wondering, though, since you know this, why you don't factor in her lateness to your schedule.
Am I the a-hole for getting upset with our waiter and refusing to pay? Okay, so for context, I have been a waitress and try to always tip well and be extra kind to waitstaff. This was an anomaly for me, but I'm still wondering if I was the a-hole. My brother and I had booked tickets to a movie, and we decided to go out for supper first. We went to a chain restaurant that generally takes about 45 minutes to get in and out of on a busy night. We gave ourselves about 2.5 hours, just to be extra safe. We also let the waiter know we had tickets to a movie. Also, the restaurant was dead. Like maybe 3 tables in a restaurant that has around 50. We ordered refillable soft drinks, and we had a coupon for a free appetizer. We also ordered meals. It took 45 minutes for them to bring our drinks to the table. They didn't come back to ask if we wanted refills, despite us trying to talk to them if they did leave the kitchen. Finally, at 1.5 hours, our appetizer came. We asked for refills on the soft drinks, but they didn't bring any out. We got to 2 hours and about 5 minutes, with us having tried to flag down the waiter many times and being ignored. Note, there were still max 5 tables of people eating and they came out with our meals. Still no refills. At this point, we were pretty upset. I told him that we had to leave for the movie and that we no longer had time to eat the food. He said they could box it up. I said no, we no longer wanted it, as it wouldn't keep in the car, and we had been trying to get his attention for over an hour. He was very unhappy that we no longer wanted it, but he finally agreed to take it off the bill. When he came back to the table, he had charged us full price for the appetizer. I told him we had a coupon, and he said the coupon is only good if you buy food. I told him we were not paying for the appetizer that we had a free coupon for, because they took over 2 hours to bring us food knowing we had to go. He got angry and brought his manager over, who said they could give us 50% off on the appetizer. He talked to us more in this interaction than he had all night. We had to leave to get to the movie on time, so we just gave in and paid for the drinks and half the appetizer. I didn't tip. I'm still pissed that we had to pay full price for soft drinks that we didn't get refilled, despite asking and waiting a literal hour for, and that we had to pay half for the free app. So, am I the a-hole for being upset here? Should I have just paid for everything and gotten it boxed up? Should I have tipped despite the service? Or was I right to be upset and respond like I did?
Here are the top comments.
I don't think you're the a-hole, but I am curious as to how they could continue to ignore you with plausible deniability if you had tried walking up to a waiter and let him know your table needed refills.
Not the a-hole. If I were you, I'd contact corporate office and let them know about your interaction at this particular restaurant. If they ignored you, they're doing the same thing to others and dragging down the brand.
Not the a-hole. Tips are supposed to be a gesture of appreciation of good service. Honestly, at the 2-hour mark, I'd have walked out without paying at all, since I clearly wasn't getting anything.